Welcome to the Big Easy, New Orleans, a city that dances to its own rhythm, a place where history whispers from every cobblestone and wrought iron balcony. The air here is thick with the scent of magnolia blossoms and beignets. But there's something else too, a certain mystique that hangs in the air like the humidity after a summer storm. It's a city born from a melting pot of cultures, French, Spanish, African, Caribbean, each leaving their mark on its music, food, and most importantly, its spirit. New Orleans is a city that embraces life, death, and everything in between. That's probably why it's no stranger to a good ghost story or two. But amongst the many tales that weave through the misty streets of New Orleans, one name stands out, whispered with a mix of reverence and fear: Marie Laveau, the Voodoo Queen. See, New Orleans has always been a city where the veil between the living and the dead felt a little thinner. Maybe it's the proximity to the Mississippi River, a powerful force that's seen it all. Or maybe it's the echoes of those who came before, their stories etched into the very fabric of the city. Whatever the reason, New Orleans has a way of drawing you in, of making you believe that anything is possible, even magic. And if there was ever a place where magic could thrive, it was in the heart of the French Quarter. Marie Laveau's story is tangled as a web. Some say she was a devout Catholic, others claim she was a powerful voodoo practitioner. But one thing's for sure, Marie Laveau left an undeniable mark on New Orleans. They flocked to her grave, leaving offerings of trinkets, beads, and rum. Now let's rewind the clock back to the turn of the 19th century. Picture this, New Orleans, 1801. The city's a melting pot, a gumbo of cultures simmering under the Louisiana sun. This is where Marie Laveau, our voodoo queen, makes her grand entrance. Born Marie Catherine Laveau, she wasn't delivered by a doctor in some fancy uptown house. No, sir, she entered the world in a little cottage nestled in the heart of the French Quarter, a place pulsating with life, music, and the spirits of generations past. Marie was a Creole woman through and through, her heritage as rich and complex as a pot of jambalaya. Her family tree was a testament to the city's diverse roots, a mix of African, European, and even indigenous ancestry. This blend of cultures wasn't just in her blood, it was in the very air she breathed, shaping her destiny from the start. To understand Marie, you gotta understand the world she was born into. New Orleans in the 1800s was a city of contrasts, a place where elegance and grit walked hand in hand. Grand mansions lined the streets of the French Quarter, but just a stone's throw away, you had the vibrant energy of Congo Square, where enslaved Africans and free people of color gathered on Sundays to drum, dance, and keep their traditions alive. This wasn't your typical southern city of the time. New Orleans had a rhythm all its own, a blend of French sophistication, Spanish flair, and the undeniable influence of African traditions. And let's not forget, this was a port city, a gateway to the world, where sailors, merchants, and adventurers from all walks of life brought their stories, their secrets, and maybe even a little magic. Now, Marie's family history is shrouded in a bit of mystery, like a good gumbo recipe passed down through generations with a secret ingredient or two. What we do know is that her mother, Marguerite Henry, was a free woman of color, a strong and independent woman, who navigated a society that often tried to keep folks like her down. As for Marie's father, well, that's where things get a little hazy. The official story says it was Charles Laveau, a white man of French descent, a respected businessman in the city. But whispers travel fast in New Orleans, especially through the moss-draped alleys of the French Quarter. Some folks say Marie's father was actually a man of color, a prominent figure in the community. Now, being a free woman of color in antebellum New Orleans was a peculiar thing. You see, Marie occupied this unique space between the rigid social structures of the time. She wasn't enslaved, but she wasn't treated as an equal to white folks either. It was a world of contradictions where opportunity and oppression danced a delicate waltz. But Marie, bless her soul, she was never one to be put in a box. She had a spirit that wouldn't be contained, a fire in her eyes that spoke of ambition and a deep connection to something bigger than herself. Growing up in the heart of New Orleans, she witnessed firsthand the power of faith, the solace found in ancient traditions, and the unspoken language of the spirit world. Now picture this. It's the year 1819. Marie Laveau, all of 18, is already turning heads in the Vieux Carré. It's her presence that draws folks in. She crosses paths with Jacques Paris. Jacques, a free man of color from Haiti, was a skilled carpenter. Their courtship was a whirlwind, as fiery as a summer storm. Jacques, though charming and full of life, carried an air of mystery about him. You see, he'd arrived in New Orleans as a refugee, escaping the tumultuous aftermath of the Haitian Revolution. That island nation, once a French colony, had risen up against its oppressors, fueled by the spirits of freedom and fueled by the potent magic of voodoo. Now, Jacques never spoke much about his life in Haiti, but rumors followed him like shadows on a moonlit night. Some whispered that he'd witnessed unspeakable horrors, that he'd seen firsthand the power of voodoo to both heal and destroy. Others claimed he'd been a Hungan, a voodoo priest, in his homeland, privy to secrets that could shake the very foundations of the spiritual world. Marie, ever the astute observer of human nature, must have sensed the hidden depths within Jacques. Perhaps she saw a kindred spirit, someone who understood the unseen forces that pulsed beneath the surface of everyday life. Marie and Jacques pledged their love in a grand ceremony at St. Louis Cathedral, the heart of the French Quarter. Their union bridged cultures, a testament to the city's melting pot spirit. Their life was filled with love and laughter, and the promise of a future intertwined. But fate had other plans. Jacques vanished without a trace, like a wisp of smoke in the wind. The circumstances were as murky as the Mississippi. Some said he set sail for new adventures. Marie, heartbroken but unbroken, refused to believe that her beloved Jacques was truly gone. She searched for him tirelessly, consulting with fortune tellers, whispering prayers in the hushed sanctity of the cathedral, and even venturing into the shadowy world of strange rituals, seeking answers from the spirits themselves. But Jacques remained elusive, his fate a mystery that gnawed at the edges of Marie's heart. In time, she came to embrace the title of Widow Paris, a badge of both sorrow and strength. It was as if she carried a part of Jacques with her, his memory woven into the fabric of her being. Little did she know that this loss, this profound heartbreak, would become a turning point in her life. It was as if the disappearance of Jacques had cracked open something within her, releasing a power she may not have known she possessed. Among the whispers and speculation, one name emerges from the shadows: Marie Laveau too. Now, whether she was Marie's actual daughter, a close relative, or perhaps even a protege who adopted the name to carry on the legacy, well, that's a question that's been debated for generations. What we do know is that this Marie Laveau II, she was a force of nature in her own right. Some say she was even more flamboyant than her supposed mother, embracing the public eye with a flair for the dramatic that would make a Mardi Gras queen blush. She held lavish rituals in Congo Square, danced with spirits under the moonlight, and dispensed charms and curses with a wink and a smile. Whether it was blood lineage or a carefully crafted persona, Marie Laveau II ensured that the Laveau name continued to resonate with power and intrigue long after the original Marie was laid to rest. Now, separating the lives and legends of these two Maries, it's like trying to untangle a string of Mardi Gras beads after a long night of revelry. Over the years, their stories have become so intertwined that it's nigh impossible to say for sure where one ends and the other begins. Did Marie Laveau, the original Voodoo Queen, have a daughter who inherited her mantle? Or was it all a clever illusion, a way to preserve the Laveau legacy and keep the whispers of magic alive? Some folks, they swear they saw Marie Laveau long after her supposed death, claiming she'd discovered the secret to eternal youth through her voodoo practices. But whether it was Marie Laveau II, or perhaps even a whole lineage of women who embodied the spirit of that Voodoo Queen, one thing's for certain: the Laveau name became synonymous with the magic and mystery of New Orleans. So, how many children did Marie Laveau have? Were they privy to her secrets, her knowledge of herbs and potions, her ability to commune with the spirit world? Did they inherit her legacy, passing down the Laveau traditions through generations like a cherished family recipe? These are questions that continue to fascinate historians, voodoo practitioners, and anyone with a thirst for the mysteries that lie hidden beneath the surface of New Orleans. The truth, as they say, is stranger than fiction. And in the case of Marie Laveau and her descendants, it's a truth that may remain forever shrouded in the mists of time and the whispers of the spirits. But that's the beauty of New Orleans, ain't it? It's a city where the past is never truly past, where the veil between the living and the dead is thin as a cobweb, and where the echoes of legends like Marie Laveau continue to enchant and mystify us generation after generation. Now let's talk about voodoo. Not the Hollywood version with pins and dolls and folks turning into zombies. No, sir, we're talking about the real deal. The spiritual tradition that took root in Louisiana, blending African beliefs with Catholic influences. It's a religion, a way of life, a connection to the ancestors and the spirits that surround us. See, voodoo came over to the New World with enslaved Africans, carried in their hearts and memories. It provided comfort, strength, and a way to hold on to their heritage in a strange and often cruel land. Over time, it intertwined with Catholicism, creating a unique blend of faith that reflected the cultural gumbo of New Orleans. Now, voodoo acknowledges one god, but it also honors spirits, forces of nature, that act as intermediaries between the human and divine realms. It's about balance, respect, and understanding that we're all connected, the living, the dead, and the spirits that walk among us. Marie Laveau, she wasn't just a practitioner of voodoo, she was a conduit, a bridge between the spiritual and material worlds. Folks from all walks of life sought her out, rich folks, poor folks, even politicians and businessmen, all hoping for a touch of her magic. She was known for her healing abilities, using her knowledge of herbs and potions to cure ailments that had doctors baffled. But Marie, she didn't just treat the body, she tended to the soul. Folks would come to her with broken hearts, troubled minds, seeking guidance and solace. And if someone was wronged, well, let's just say Marie Laveau had a way of ensuring justice was served, whether through the legal system or, shall we say, more supernatural means. She was a protector of the vulnerable, a voice for the voiceless, and her reputation as a powerful woman, it spread like wildfire through the streets of New Orleans. Now, no discussion about Marie Laveau would be complete without mentioning gris-gris. These ain't just lucky charms you pick up in a tourist shop. They're powerful objects imbued with intention and spiritual energy. Think of them as little bundles of magic, crafted for specific purposes, to attract love, money, or good luck, or to ward off evil, banish negativity, or even, some say, to exact revenge on one's enemies. Marie Laveau, she was a master of gris-gris, creating personalized charms and amulets for those who sought her out. Folks would whisper their deepest desires, their darkest fears, and Marie, with a twinkle in her eye and a prayer on her lips, would craft a gris-gris tailored to their needs. But be warned, these weren't toys to be trifled with. The power of gris-gris, it comes with a responsibility, a respect for the unseen forces at play. One legend that says that this wealthy man was so desperate that he promised Marie Laveau a house in exchange for her assistance in freeing his son who was on trial in a hopeless case. Laveau, known for her powerful influence in the city, especially in matters involving the law and justice, agreed to help. The man's offer of a house was a significant gesture, reflecting how much faith the city had in her supernatural abilities. Marie Laveau employed one of her most famous voodoo rituals to assist in the case. According to the story, she took 3 hot peppers, which played a crucial role in her spell work. The peppers were a symbol of fiery energy, believed to amplify the spiritual power she was about to unleash. As part of the ritual, Laveau is said to have put the hot peppers in her mouth, biting down on them and holding them there as she prayed and called upon the spirits. This act of chewing the peppers was both a physical and spiritual gesture, believed to intensify her connection with the spirits and empower her requests. While holding the peppers in her mouth, Marie Laveau invoked the spirits and ancestors, asking them for their intervention in the case. She prayed fervently for the release of the man's son, directing her energy toward the courtroom and the judge who would decide his fate. Laveau was known for her deep connection to the spiritual world, and in this case, she sought the spirits' assistance to influence the legal proceedings. The critical part of the ritual involved Marie Laveau secretly placing the peppers beneath the judge's chair in the courtroom. By doing this, she aimed to influence the judge's decision without his knowledge. The belief was that by putting the peppers under his chair, the judge would become more favorable toward the defendant without realizing why. In voodoo, objects such as hot peppers can be used to heat up a situation, applying pressure or influence on those in power. According to the legend, Marie Laveau's ritual worked. The judge, without fully understanding why, became inclined to show leniency in the case. The wealthy man's son was ultimately released from jail, avoiding a harsh sentence or execution. In gratitude for her success, the man fulfilled his promise and gave Laveau a house. This story exemplifies Marie Laveau's reputation as a powerful voodoo queen who could manipulate the justice system and wield influence over the most important matters in the city. Her ability to communicate with the spirits, perform intricate rituals, and secure favorable outcomes for her clients reinforced her status as an extraordinary figure in New Orleans. While the specifics of this tale may have been embellished over the years, it highlights the deep belief in Laveau's supernatural abilities and the lengths people were willing to go to seek her help. The hot pepper ritual, in particular, has become one of the most iconic elements of her legacy. Now, Marie Laveau's home on St. Anne Street, it wasn't just a residence, it was a spiritual hub, a place where the mundane met the mystical. Step inside and you'd be greeted by the aromas of exotic herbs and spices, the air thick with the scent of incense and the whispers of ancient knowledge. She had a gift for understanding the language of nature, the healing properties of plants, the power hidden within roots and flowers. Folks would come from miles around to purchase her remedies, her potions, her elixirs, each one crafted with care and infused with her unique brand of spiritual energy. But Marie, she wasn't just selling products. She was sharing her wisdom, teaching folks about the interconnectedness of all living things. She believed that nature held the key to healing both physical and spiritual, and she encouraged people to tap into that power to find balance and harmony within themselves and the world around them. Now, Marie Laveau, she wasn't just some mystical figure cloistered away in her home, surrounded by potions and gree-gree. No, sir, she was a vital part of her community, a respected leader who used her influence to uplift those around her. She was known for her generosity, her willingness to help those less fortunate, regardless of their race or social standing. She provided food and shelter to the homeless, nursed the sick, and fought for the rights of the marginalized. Marie understood that true power lies not in manipulating spirits or casting spells, but in using your gifts to make a difference in the lives of others. She was a beacon of hope in a city often shrouded in darkness, a testament to the enduring strength of the human spirit. Now, Marie Laveau, she lived a long life, passing on in 1881. But here's the thing about legends, they got a way of outliving even the grandest tombstones. Marie's final resting place, it's over there in St. Louis Cemetery number 1. And let me tell you, it ain't your average grave. Folks, they still flock there today, from every corner of the globe, drawn by the whispers of her name and the lingering scent of magic in the air. They come bearing gifts, flowers, beads, coins, you name it, all left with a prayer and a hope that maybe, just maybe, the Voodoo Queen's spirit is listening. See, Marie, she understood the power of belief, the way it could bind folks together, give them strength in times of trouble, and keep their spirits afloat even when the world felt like it was spinning off its axis. And that's the legacy she left behind, a legacy woven into the very fabric of New Orleans. Now, over the years, separating the truth about Marie Laveau from the tall tales, it's become a bit of a parlor game here in New Orleans. Was she a devout Catholic who just had a knack for herbal remedies and a way of comforting folks in their time of need? Or was she a powerful sorceress, commanding spirits with a flick of her wrist and a whisper of ancient words? The truth, like a good pot of gumbo, probably lies somewhere in the middle, seasoned with a healthy dose of New Orleans mystique. See, back in Marie's day, folks didn't always keep the best records, especially when it came to women, and even more especially when it came to women of color. So, we're left with fragments, whispers, and stories passed down through generations, each one adding a little spice, a little embellishment, until the line between fact and fiction blurs like the fog rolling in off the Mississippi River. So why is it that Marie Laveau, a woman who walked these streets over a century ago, still holds such sway over our imaginations? Well, I guess it's because she represents something timeless, something universal, something we all long for in our heart of hearts. She represents the power of belief, the idea that there's more to this world than meets the eye, that magic exists for those who know where to look. In a world that often feels cold and indifferent, Marie Laveau reminds us that there's still room for mystery, for wonder, for the possibility that the spirits are listening, waiting for us to reach out and whisper our hopes and dreams. And let's be honest, there's a part of us that wants to believe, don't you think? A part of us that yearns for a world where a sprinkle of gopher dust, a well-placed gree-gree, or a prayer whispered to the ancestors can make all the difference. Marie Laveau may be gone, but her spirit lingers like the scent of magnolia blossoms after a spring rain. You can feel it in the pulse of the city, in the rhythm of the jazz music on Frenchman Street, in the vibrant colors of the houses in the tram, in the way folks greet each other with a smile and a "how you mom them." New Orleans remembers, embracing its past, both light and shadow. Marie Laveau is woven into that tapestry, a spark of magic within us all. Journey through the misty alleys of history, exploring the life of Marie Laveau, the Voodoo Queen. Shaped by the city's unique blend of cultures, she transcended time, captivating hearts even today. More than a voodoo priestess, she was a symbol of resilience, strength, and the human spirit. Marie Laveau's legacy endures. Angela Bassett portrayed the legendary Marie Laveau in the third season of American Horror Story, Coven, 2013, bringing the Voodoo Queen of New Orleans to life with intensity, strength, and charisma. Bassett's portrayal highlighted both the mythical aspects of Laveau's character and her historical significance. Here's a breakdown of her performance and the real-life connection to Laveau's profession as a hairdresser. Coven, Marie Laveau is depicted as an immortal and powerful voodoo priestess who runs a beauty salon in modern-day New Orleans. She is a fierce rival to the witches of the Salem Coven, led by Fiona Good, played by Jessica Lange, and possesses immense magical abilities, including the power to control the dead, necromancy, and grant immortality. Bassett's portrayal of Marie Laveau emphasized her strength, resilience, and vengeance, but also her deep connection to her community. Her Laveau was regal and terrifying, but also complex, balancing her role as a leader in the voodoo world with her personal desire for justice and revenge. Bassett's performance was widely praised for its depth and nuance, as she gave Laveau a commanding presence that blended historical reverence with supernatural fantasy. Bassett imbued Marie Laveau with an aura of authority, making her character a true force to be reckoned with in the magical world of Coven. She was depicted as someone who held immense control not just over voodoo practitioners, but also over life and death. Though the show took liberties with the legend of Marie Laveau, Angela Bassett's performance kept a sense of authenticity and respect for the historical figure. She portrayed Laveau as a woman who was not only feared for her magic, but also revered for her wisdom and leadership. In Coven, Laveau's beauty salon serves as a front for her voodoo activities, echoing the real-life fact that Marie Laveau was a hairdresser. This blend of her profession and spiritual role allowed Bassett's character to connect with the women of the community, much like the historical Laveau did. In real life, Marie Laveau worked as a hairdresser for wealthy Creole and white women in New Orleans. This profession gave her a unique and influential position in society, as she was able to gain access to the homes and private lives of New Orleans' elite. Through her work, she not only earned a living, but also gathered valuable information, which she could use to her advantage in her role as a spiritual leader and voodoo queen. As a hairdresser, Laveau was privy to the secrets, gossip, and concerns of her clients. These women would often confide in her about personal matters, including affairs, scandals, and social issues, which gave her insight into the workings of New Orleans society. Some say this information enhanced her reputation as a woman who knew things and could seemingly predict outcomes or offer solutions. Laveau's hairdressing career allowed her to combine her practical work with her spiritual calling. She would often use this time to offer spiritual advice, prayers, or even spells for her clients, further intertwining her role in society with her mystical reputation. In interviews, Bassett expressed how much she enjoyed playing Marie Laveau, appreciating the opportunity to portray a real historical figure with such power and legacy. Bassett's interpretation of Laveau paid homage to her status as both a powerful woman and a spiritual leader, while also embracing the fantastical elements of the role. Her portrayal was praised for being both fierce and grounded, showcasing the strength, mysticism, and humanity of the legendary figure. One of the most common beliefs is that anyone who disturbs Marie Laveau's grave or disrespects her in any way may face a series of unfortunate events. This could include bad luck in relationships, financial struggles, or accidents. Some visitors claim that after mocking or defacing her grave, they experience strange misfortunes that they attribute to her curse. There are stories of people who have fallen ill after disturbing her grave. Visitors have reported feeling dizzy, nauseous, or suddenly ill while near her tomb, or experiencing lingering sickness after leaving the cemetery. Some believe this is a direct result of Marie Laveau's spirit seeking to protect her resting place. Those who have disrespected her grave sometimes report being haunted by strange occurrences, such as hearing whispers, seeing shadows, or experiencing nightmares. This is thought to be Laveau's way of letting people know that her spirit is still present and watching. In the most severe cases, it's believed that Laveau's spirit can curse those who desecrate her grave. Stories suggest that people who have vandalized or stolen items from her grave have experienced lasting curses, causing chaos in their personal and professional lives. In the past, visitors would mark 3 X's on her tomb, hoping to make a wish or request her help. This practice became so common that it caused damage to the tomb, and the cemetery has since banned it. Marking or defacing the grave is now considered highly disrespectful. Many people leave gifts at Marie Laveau's grave to seek her favor, such as candles, beads, coins, or other personal items. Taking these offerings is seen as an affront to her spirit and can invite misfortune. Speaking ill of Laveau, mocking her voodoo practices, or behaving disrespectfully near her grave is believed to provoke her spirit's wrath. Marie Laveau is still deeply revered in New Orleans, and her spirit is said to be just as powerful in death as it was in life. Many people believe that Laveau continues to serve as a protector of the city and her people, and that she remains active in the spiritual realm. Disturbing her peace is not just an act of disrespect toward her legacy, but also a challenge to the supernatural powers that are believed to surround her grave. In contrast, those who visit her grave with respect and leave offerings are believed to be blessed by her spirit, receiving guidance, protection, or even answers to their prayers. This reverence for Marie Laveau's grave makes it a significant place of both caution and pilgrimage in New Orleans. New Orleans, it's a city that understands the language of the spirit. In New Orleans, anything is possible, as vibrant and enigmatic as the city she called home. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe and like, because it helps the channel tremendously. Have you ever visited the grave of Marie Laveau? Let me know in the comments.